Growing up, she was the girl no one claimed, the unwritten chapter in a story that many prefer to keep hidden. Born into a world where her origins were shrouded in silence and uncertainty, she navigated her childhood with a sense of invisibility that many children in her situation experience. Society often views these children through a lens of neglect or abandonment. Yet behind that perspective lies a complex web of human stories. Stories of loss, resilience, and the relentless search for identity. Her parents never stepped forward, never took responsibility, leaving her to forge her own path without the reassurance that family ties might someday anchor her. Despite that, she persisted, growing into an adult with a quiet strength that defied her circumstances. Over the years, her story became one shared in whispers, a narrative that some might dismiss or forget. But within her, a spark of defiance burned. She wondered about her roots, about the family she never knew, and about the truth beneath the silence that had defined her early years. What does it mean to carry a name that was never fully yours? How does one reconcile the absence of that initial sense of belonging? These questions haunted her in moments of solitude, whispering truths that she wasn't yet ready to face. Her journey was marked by a persistent quest for acknowledgement, not just from others, but from herself. She sought to understand her story, to find meaning in the gaps where her history should have been. Her experience echoes a broader, more universal dilemma that many face but few openly confront: the desire for recognition, for belonging, and for a sense of completeness. The notion that family is the cornerstone of identity is deeply ingrained in our cultural fabric, yet millions of children grow up without that cornerstone. For some, the absence is filled with love from strangers or through the act of adoption, while others carry the scars of neglect, abandonment, or unspoken truths. Her story is a testament to the resilience required to survive a childhood that was never fully acknowledged by her biological family. It also highlights the societal tendency to overlook those who slip through the cracks, leaving them invisible in a system that may seem to be doing enough, but often misses the nuances of individual stories. As she matured, her perspective shifted from one of silent longing to a conscious decision to reclaim her story. She realized that her identity was not solely defined by the circumstances of her birth or the absence of her biological family. Instead, it was shaped by her choices, her battles, and her ability to construct meaning out of the fragments she had inherited. Her voice, once silenced, began to emerge, echoing a powerful message of hope and perseverance. That message resonated deeply within her community and beyond, inspiring others who had faced similar loneliness or rejection. It challenged the assumption that a child's worth is measured solely by the presence of biological bloodlines or societal recognition. Today, that girl who was once a nameless child has become a symbol of change for many. Her story underscores the importance of acknowledging those who are often overlooked, giving a voice to children and adults whose origins are a mystery or a painful secret. Her journey is more than just about finding her roots. It's about transforming the narrative of abandonment into one of empowerment. The path she traveled highlights the complexities of identity, the importance of compassion, and the power of community in healing wounds that time alone cannot mend. Through her story, countless children who carry the weight of unspoken histories find a reflection of their own struggles and a spark of hope that they too can shape their future, regardless of their starting point. Building on this, however, her journey transcended the personal realm and ignited discussions about societal responsibility in caring for those who fall through the cracks. Her story became a mirror reflecting the systemic gaps that often overlook children marred by neglect or abandonment. It prompted a reevaluation of how institutions, foster systems, and communities approach the vulnerable members of society. Instead of merely providing temporary solutions, there was a push to develop more comprehensive frameworks that address emotional scars as deeply as they do physical needs. Now, consider how this applies when communities around the world reflect on the importance of creating environments where every child feels seen, valued, and supported, irrespective of their origins. Her experience illuminated the palpable necessity for proactive measures that prevent children from slipping into invisibility in the first place. Furthermore, the narrative also sheds light on the need for empathy-driven policies that acknowledge the complexity of human relationships. It's one thing to have a legal framework for adoption or guardianship, but quite another to cultivate an emotional landscape where adopted children can forge authentic connections without residual feelings of abandonment. Her story exemplifies how societal attitudes toward adoption and foster care can either foster healing or reinforce silence. When institutions move beyond procedural formalities and embrace a more nuanced understanding of emotional well-being, they create safer spaces for transition and integration. This broader perspective emphasizes that giving a child a new name or a new family must go hand in hand with nurturing a sense of belonging that transcends mere paperwork. Another crucial layer involves the transformation of personal pain into social activism. Her experience, initially marked by loneliness and longing, gradually became a catalyst for advocacy. By sharing her story, she challenged stigmas associated with broken families and unclaimed children, transforming personal vulnerability into collective empowerment. Now imagine how this model can serve as a blueprint for fostering resilience within communities. When individuals who have endured hardship leverage their narratives to inspire change, they catalyze a ripple effect that can reshape public perceptions and policies. Her voice, once silenced by circumstances beyond her control, evolved into a powerful instrument for awareness, encouraging others to confront uncomfortable truths about societal neglect and to demand accountability. Additionally, the evolving perspective underscores the importance of internal reconciliation for those who have experienced abandonment. She learned that embracing her past with honesty was integral to reclaiming her self-identity. This act of self-awareness often entails confronting feelings of anger, shame, or guilt that may have lingered beneath the surface for years. It requires courage to face these emotions head-on and to recognize that they are components of a larger, multifaceted identity. Now, consider how this introspection informs the broader conversation about mental health and healing. Society tends to shy away from acknowledging the depths of pain that accompany feelings of rejection, yet true recovery depends on embracing those shadows rather than suppressing them. Her example demonstrates that healing begins with accepting the reality of one's history and then actively reweaving it into a narrative of strength. Finally, her story beckons us to rethink the concept of legacy. Traditionally, legacy is viewed as the inheritance of wealth, status, or societal position. However, her life offers an alternative interpretation, one rooted in the impact of compassion, perseverance, and authenticity. By choosing to redefine what it means to leave a mark on the world, she exemplifies how lived experiences, especially those born out of adversity, can serve as a beacon for others navigating similar hardships. Her journey illustrates that true legacy resides not in material possessions, but in the ability to inspire others to find hope amidst despair. Now, think about how this idea applies in your own life, how your responses to challenges can ripple outward, shaping the future of those around you in ways you might never anticipate. Her story encourages us to view every obstacle as a potential catalyst for positive change, emphasizing that even those who start life unseen and unheard can ultimately leave an indelible impression on the fabric of society. Her story also reveals an often overlooked dimension, the profound influence of community acceptance on individual transformation. When society chooses to embrace rather than ostracize those with difficult beginnings, it cultivates an environment more conducive to healing and growth. Imagine a mosaic composed of countless fractured pieces, each representing different life circumstances. When the entire community recognizes the beauty in the imperfections, the mosaic gains strength and resilience. Her journey demonstrates how collective validation can serve as an essential stepping stone towards self-empowerment. It is not merely individual resilience that matters, but the willingness of surrounding circles, neighbors, schools, local organizations, to participate actively in redefining what it means to belong. This communal effort can help supplant feelings of alienation, replacing them with a sense of shared responsibility and genuine inclusion. Furthermore, her experience prompts a reconsideration of education's role in shaping perceptions about identity and belonging. Schools often operate as microcosms of society, yet they can unintentionally reinforce the stigmas associated with unclaimed or adoptive children. When curricula exclude narratives that reflect diverse family structures or dismiss the importance of emotional attachments, they perpetuate a limited worldview. Conversely, integrating stories like hers into classroom discussions fosters empathy and broadens understanding. Educating young minds about the complexity of family histories encourages compassion and dispels misconceptions. Such exposure can also inspire children from challenging backgrounds to see their own stories as valued contributions to the tapestry of human experience. Ultimately, an inclusive education system becomes a foundation where differences are normalized and the importance of personal resilience is recognized as a vital facet of societal strength. In this context, her tale underscores the transformative power of storytelling as a tool for healing and advocacy. Sharing personal histories, particularly those involving rejection, can serve as a catalyst for the collective consciousness to evolve. When individuals recount their struggles, they challenge societal narratives that stigmatize vulnerability. Her narrative becomes a vessel that carries messages of hope, resilience, and the possibility for change. In communities where stories are celebrated rather than silenced, individuals find validation and the collective empathy expands. This act of vulnerability can inspire others to confront their own unresolved traumas, fostering an atmosphere where dialogue supersedes judgment. As more voices join the chorus, the societal fabric becomes more flexible and accommodating, capable of supporting varied life journeys with understanding rather than prejudice. Another essential aspect to explore is the influence of personal growth on reshaping societal standards. Her evolution from a silent, marginalized figure to a voice of influence exemplifies how individual transformation can ripple outward, challenging entrenched norms. Her courage to confront her pain head-on mirrors a broader call for society to re-examine its perceptions about worth and success. She demonstrates that resilience doesn't manifest solely through personal fortitude, but also through the active pursuit of meaning and purpose beyond trauma. Now consider how this concept applies when you encounter societal expectations that define identity narrowly, whether based on biological ties, social status, or superficial labels. Her journey illustrates that breaking free from these constraints requires an internal revolution, a conscious effort to redefine one's value independently of external validation. Her example encourages others to pursue internal authenticity, recognizing that societal perceptions do not dictate personal worth. The ripple effect of her story extends into the realm of legal and policy reform, revealing the importance of systemic change. While individual resilience can elevate personal circumstances, lasting impact often hinges on institutional shifts that support vulnerable populations. Her narrative exposes gaps that policies must address, such as child welfare procedures, adoption laws, and social services that prioritize holistic well-being over bureaucratic protocol. Building innovative frameworks that respect the dignity of those with fragmented origins involves listening deeply to their voices and acknowledging their unique needs. Alternatively, neglecting these nuances risks perpetuating cycles of invisibility and marginalization. Her life underscores the argument that meaningful reform requires a shift from reactive measures to proactive strategies, ones that anticipate and accommodate the diverse realities of human existence. Policies rooted in compassion and inclusivity can pave pathways allowing even those with the most complicated histories to flourish, transforming societal structures from barriers into bridges of opportunity. Finally, her story challenges the reader to consider the enduring legacy of compassion, not as a fleeting act, but as a fundamental principle guiding societal evolution. Each act of kindness that recognizes someone's unspoken pain becomes a seed capable of blossoming into broader social change. Her resilience exemplifies how compassion can serve as a catalyst for fostering healthier communities, spaces where vulnerability is met with understanding rather than judgment. When society adopts this mindset, it redefines strength, valuing emotional openness and acknowledgement of past wounds as vital elements of collective progress. Now think about how you personally can influence this shift. Small acts, listening without judgment, extending empathy in moments of weakness, accumulate to form a larger movement. Her story instructs us that the true legacy lies in the capacity to inspire kindness, opening pathways for others to find their voice and rewrite their narratives, transforming collective pain into shared hope. Building on this, the true power of her story lies in how it challenges ingrained notions of identity that are often dictated by external labels or societal expectations. Consider how many individuals are boxed into predefined categories, whether defined by race, gender, economic background, or family history, and how these labels can become prison walls that hinder authentic self-discovery. Her experience reveals that breaking free from these constraints requires a deliberate effort to reconstruct personal meaning beyond superficial identities imposed from the outside. This process demands deep introspection, which functions as an internal compass guiding her toward values, passions, and beliefs that resonate with her authentic self, independent of the external narrative. Now think about how this applies when someone encounters societal stereotypes that try to define them prematurely, before they have had a chance to forge their own understanding. Her journey demonstrates that every individual holds the capacity to forge a new internal map, one that is not limited by external expectations and instead rooted in personal truth. Furthermore, her story underscores the urgency of fostering environments that celebrate complexity rather than diminish it. A society that values simplicity often prefers neat, digestible labels, such as adopted, neglected, or abandoned, but skips over the intricate layers of human experience that these labels cannot fully capture. Recognizing the multifaceted nature of her narrative demands that communities move beyond surface judgments and actively engage with the nuanced reality behind each person's background. This involves creating spaces where storytelling is not just permitted, but encouraged as a form of empowerment. When someone like her can share her full spectrum of feelings, struggles, and resilience, it becomes a catalyst for deeper understanding and empathy. Such environments serve as fertile ground for human growth, helping others realize that a single label cannot contain the breadth of their identities or the richness of their journeys. Another perspective worth exploring is the transformative potential of reclaiming agency in constructing one's life course. In her case, the act of choosing her path, despite the absence of a traditional family structure, became a fundamental act of self-assertion. It illustrates that even amid circumstances seemingly dictated by fate, individuals can carve new trajectories that reflect their aspirations and values. This reclamation is often overlooked in societal narratives, which tend to focus on victimhood or passivity. Instead, her story exemplifies active resilience, where the decision to define her story on her terms rather than allowing external forces to do so becomes a form of rebellion against invisibility. Now consider how this principle applies to others facing limitations imposed by systemic injustices, whether economic, racial, or social. Taking control over one's narrative becomes a foundation for empowerment, transforming perceived vulnerabilities into sources of strength. In essence, it elevates the individual from passive recipient of circumstances to architect of their destiny. Building even further, her narrative raises important questions about the meaning of belonging that extend beyond biological or legal ties. When she chose to forge her identity independently, she exemplified a form of belonging rooted in purpose and community rather than kinship alone. Her approach suggests that true connection is constructed through shared values, mutual support, and acts of kindness, factors that can forge bonds stronger than bloodlines. Now think about how social groups, workplaces, or neighborhoods can foster this sense of belonging, not just through formal structures, but through intentional acts that affirm individual worth. Community projects, volunteer initiatives, and peer support systems serve as fertile soil for cultivating genuine connection, proving that belonging is an ongoing process rather than a static label. Her example demonstrates that when individuals are empowered to define what community means for themselves, they foster deeper, more meaningful relationships, transforming the idea of family into a dynamic, inclusive fabric woven by shared experiences and care. Lastly, her story underscores the profound influence of inner resilience as a catalyst for societal transformation. When someone faces profound neglect and chooses to respond with compassion, hope, and perseverance, they become not only witnesses to their own recovery, but also beacons for others in similar circumstances. Her ability to turn personal pain into a source of light reflects a resilient spirit that can spark collective change. Now consider how society benefits when more individuals embrace resilience as a core value, whether they are overcoming personal trauma or advocating for systemic reform. This resilience creates a ripple effect that extends beyond individual lives, inspiring communities to challenge injustices and to reimagine the possibilities of human connection. In her story, resilience is not just a survival strategy. It becomes an act of defiance against despair, a declaration that even in the darkest moments, hope can ignite pathways toward renewal and societal healing. Her story invites a deeper reflection on how resilience can serve as a foundational element for societal evolution, especially when cultivated through intentional nurturing rather than solely individual effort. It underscores the importance of creating systemic environments that recognize resilience as an active skill, something that can be taught, reinforced, and expanded through community programs, mentorship, and public policies. Think of it as tending to a garden. Resilience is the seed, but it requires the right soil, water, and sunlight to flourish. When institutions prioritize emotional literacy, trauma-informed practices, and accessible mental health resources, they lay the groundwork for individuals to not only withstand adversity, but to transform it into fuel for growth. This shift demands that society regard resilience less as an innate trait and more as a capacity that can be expanded with appropriate support. Expanding further, her experience demonstrates that resilience often involves a deliberate redefinition of failure. Instead of viewing setbacks as insurmountable obstacles, she learned to interpret them as opportunities for recalibration, a chance to adjust her internal compass rather than abandon her journey. This perspective requires a cultural shift away from framing mistakes as marks of incompetence toward understanding them as vital feedback loops in personal development. Now consider how society at large often stigmatizes failure, discouraging risk-taking and innovation. Her story exemplifies the importance of fostering an environment where vulnerability is seen as strength and setbacks are regarded as stepping stones rather than dead ends. By embracing this mindset, communities can cultivate a collective resilience that not only sustains individuals, but also accelerates social progress, prompting a reevaluation of what it means to truly persevere. Furthermore, resilience should be viewed as a dynamic process, one that adapts to changing circumstances rather than remaining static. Her ability to evolve her understanding of herself and her environment illustrates that resilience is not merely bouncing back to a previous state, but rather moving forward from a new, more informed perspective. This capacity for behavioral and emotional flexibility becomes crucial when facing unforeseen challenges or societal upheavals. Now think about how organizations or nations can model this adaptability in their responses to crises, whether economic, political, or environmental. By continuously reassessing strategies and embracing innovation, they can develop a resilient identity that withstands shocks while also transforming adversity into opportunity. Her journey exemplifies how internal resilience, when paired with open-mindedness, can become a catalyst for broader societal resilience. Transitioning to a more nuanced plane, her story also highlights the strength found in vulnerability itself as a form of resilience. Contrary to the misconception that resilience means emotional armor or invulnerability, she demonstrated that acknowledging pain and exposing frailty can empower individuals to confront their deepest fears. Sharing her raw emotion didn't weaken her, it reinforced her capacity to connect authentically with others, forging bonds that provided vital strength. Society often regards vulnerability as a sign of weakness. Yet her experience reveals that genuine courage involves baring one's heart, accepting imperfections and uncertainties, thus transforming them into sources of inner power. Now consider how social movements or leadership strategies can harness this insight. By embracing authenticity and transparency, they create spaces where others feel safe to do the same. Such openness fosters a collective resilience rooted in shared human vulnerability, dissolving barriers of shame and fostering unity. Another layer to explore concerns the role of hope as an integral component of resilience. Her journey illustrates that hope functions not as a naive expectation, but as an active force, driving individuals to continue navigating dark corridors, even when clarity seems distant. It acts as an internal compass, guiding her through turbulent periods and inspiring renewed purpose. When she faced moments of despair, hope was the flicker that kept her moving forward, transforming obstacles into opportunities for learning. The challenge lies in maintaining this fragile flame amid relentless adversity. Society, therefore, bears responsibility for nurturing hope through equitable access to education, opportunity, and community support. When hope is systematically fostered, it becomes a powerful collective resource, an engine capable of overcoming despair and fueling resilience at a cultural level. Her story demonstrates that hope is not passive. It is an active, vital ingredient in shaping a resilient society. Finally, her experience emphasizes that true resilience encompasses the capacity to envision a future beyond trauma or hardship. It involves nurturing a sense of possibility and purpose that extend past immediate struggles, cultivating a forward-looking outlook that embraces growth and transformation. She exemplifies how envisioning a different life, one rooted in self-acceptance and hope, can catalyze action toward a better reality. This perspective encourages individuals and communities to transcend their circumstances, fostering a belief that meaningful change is attainable through perseverance and ingenuity. When collective narratives shift from survival to thriving, resilience takes on a broader significance, becoming a shared aspiration that inspires ongoing efforts towards social justice, mental wellness, and personal fulfillment. Her journey reminds us that resilience is not just about enduring. It is about actively shaping the story of what is yet to come. Drawing these strands together, we see a complex tapestry woven from resilience, identity, community, and transformation, each thread reinforcing the others in a dynamic interplay. The narrative reveals that the journey inward and outward is interconnected. Personal growth does not occur in isolation, but is catalyzed and sustained through collective acknowledgement and meaningful engagement. It becomes evident that the process of reclaiming oneself, especially in the face of profound disconnection, is fundamentally an act of simultaneous internal recalibration and external redefinition. To forge a sense of belonging that transcends superficial labels requires recognizing the inherent power of vulnerability, the importance of nurturing hope, and the capacity for adaptive reinvention. These insights underscore that resilience is not merely a static trait, but a fluid, evolving response, shaped by our interactions, perceptions, and intentions. In light of these insights, the path forward becomes clearer. The challenge is to cultivate environments where aspirations for growth are met with compassion and understanding, where the act of storytelling becomes both an act of healing and a catalyst for societal introspection. It invites us to consider how we, as individuals and communities, can foster spaces that respect complexity and honor the resilience rooted within each human experience. The metaphor of a mosaic continues to resonate, each piece imperfect and unique, yet collectively forming a profound whole that demands careful attention, patience, and reverence. The process of connecting these fragments is inherently transformative, offering a glimpse into what is possible when diverse stories are woven into a collective fabric that values authenticity and empathy. As we pivot towards the final reflection, it becomes apparent that the journey not only illuminates the potential for personal renewal, but also challenges us to reconsider the very foundations of societal narrative and engagement. It urges us to recognize that true strength often arises from embracing vulnerability, that community's power lies in fostering genuine connection, and that resilience is best understood as a continuous act of co-creation, one that depends on the willingness to listen, to adapt, and to grow. The cumulative effect of these ideas emphasizes that the future we envision is inherently linked to how we nurture the seeds of hope, compassion, and understanding today. In contemplating the intricate web of human experience, we are reminded that transformation is a collective endeavor, one that asks us to look beyond surface appearances and to value the quiet, often unseen, acts of courage that quietly reshape the landscape of what is possible. Reflecting on this journey so far, we see an invitation to move forward with intention, recognizing that just as a mosaic gains strength through each carefully placed piece, our shared human endeavor is built upon the collective effort to create a more inclusive, compassionate world.